Welcome back to Bold of You to Say, the only show where you have to, before you listen, you have to
call it crackhead.
The heat!
We also bring the heat. We bring quite a bit
also
of heat.
That, yes.
We
call it crackhead.
And the crackhead brings some heat, but not as much as we bring.
Exactly.
Yeah. We're back with another episode. This week we talked about Gavin's making some COVID commemorative pins.
Yes. COVID memorial
pins.
pin.
Pretty cool. And then we talked about Fox News. They hate you. They just hate you, and they want you to suffer, and they don't want you to have...
And they hate your cat,
too.
They
hate cats, is the weird thing. Like, Dr. Oz torturing puppies and Fox News hating kittens. Like, they're both on the same side of on two sides of the same horrible coin.
You know those videos when two people are having, like, an argument, and when the one dude's about to leave, he goes, you know what, fuck you, and your dog, too.
Yeah.
Right?
Can't say I've run into that, but I get it. Look, conservatives couldn't get more transparent about how much they're just villains. Like, they're literally torturing puppies and hating on kittens. And they're like, vote for us, you idiot. Then we talked about Weird, the Al Yankovic story, the 100% true...
110% true.
Document laying out the life and death of one Alfred Yankovic. Next week, we're going to talk about Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter. So watch that, then we're going to talk about it.
Amen.
There are timestamps in the description, so you can skip around if you want. If you want to skip a certain part, or if you just can't wait to get to a certain part. There are no half-hour debates in this episode, so don't worry about that. But, comment below what you want us to spend way too much time debating about next week. And give us money, and give us validation, etc., etc. Links in description. And let's get the hell into it.
Let's get within it,
Yeah. Yeah, hold on. Where I have too many sound bites. Also, remember,
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
So, for the past, 2 months since I've been in student government, like, I've been working on this passion project of mine. I might see if I can, like, expand it outside of just student government and make it just a general thing. But I've been working on making a COVID memorial, a commemorative memorial pin. How often do a million people die?
Yeah.
Right? Of a pandemic, right?
Right. Well, the only time I can think of, like, a million people dying from the same thing is, like,
war.
Like, war and, like, superhero movies, Right.
Exactly.
When Superman, busts through every building at the same time.
Like, people died. He killed people there.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know where he's going, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they tried in the next movie, they tried to be like, no, it's okay. Batman evacuated, like, 5 people.
Okay, evacuations take hours.
No, it's okay. They evacuated. They evacuated as the multiple 9/11s were happening.
Order while he was fighting the villain on top of the building.
No, it's okay. No, it's not that Batman kills people. It's that he fires the gun and the bullet flies through the air. And if it happens to hit someone...
You're missing the point here, Alex. Batman doesn't kill people. People kill people.
Yeah. Yeah. Is Batman included in people? That's beside the point.
No, that's beside the point.
It's a real Zack Snyder thing that he said, by the way. Not making that up.
Really?
Yeah, he was like...
That's great.
Because people were like, Batman has miniguns on the Batmobile, and he kills people with them. And it wasn't the minigun. He does have miniguns, but it wasn't the miniguns. It was that he, like, crashes his Batmobile into the bad guys' cars and, like, flips them, then they explode. And Zack Snyder was asked about that in an interview, and he was like, hey, Batman just happens to hit into them, and if they die, we don't know.
What if they said that about 9/11? I'm just like, okay, like, I'm not trying. No. Don't, no. Like,
a second plane just happens to have hit the World Trade Center.
What I'm saying is, what if they were just like, they were just terrorists happened to be flying the planes and they just happened to crash into the World Trade Center? Like,
Yeah.
I'm okay. Anyway, so speaking kind of on the idea of like tragedy, like what we saw in like 9/11, for instance. Like I've heard people say that they would give a lot to prevent 9/11, but they would give a lot more for another 9/12, which, like, that's not a joke. They're like being honest, because I guess, and granted, I was an infant at the time, so I can't speak from personal experience, but allegedly people were just super nice and courteous and just genuine. People were genuinely just nice to each other after 9/11, or the day after 9/11. The thing with COVID, though, is I feel like there was never a 9/12 for that. It just got worse.
Yeah, because like there isn't, like, unless you're like racist, there isn't like a bad guy or bad guy group to really get mad at and unite against with COVID.
Right.
Like, you can't be like, yeah, fuck that virus.
Well, I mean, yeah, but the thing is,
you can.
We could have done that.
People don't.
We could have done that and said, "Hey, fuck this shit. Okay, we're gonna get this vaccine rolling. We're gonna make sure that states have a plan for if it gets out of hand, and we're gonna get through this, and we're gonna do it with minimum casualties, right?" But we didn't, and that resulted in the deaths of over 1.07 million Americans.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing that I can't get over is that, like, it was supposed to last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
COVID was supposed to be 2 weeks of just doing a little bit of online school, just not going to Walmart, not throwing parties to purposefully spread the virus. People couldn't go 2 weeks.
Yeah. Oh god, I was going to say something else. You can try to like write a lot of the deaths off as like, oh, they were on their way out anyway. That doesn't do anyone justice. You know that, right? That doesn't, like, you don't like look at 9/11, for instance, and think, well, there were old buildings anyway.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they actually fell because they didn't update the drywall. Do big buildings have drywall? I don't know. But you know what I mean?
Had
like
asbestos in it.
Yeah, they actually fell because they had asbestos. like we can clearly tell what did it.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's really fruitless to make distinctions between suffering and types of suffering. Have it be through disease, or have it be having to watch people you love die of a disease, or even have it be, you are in your parents' basement watching your society suffer.
Yeah.
As I was, which is, I'm going to be honest, that was a very privileged position that I was in. But throughout all this, I wanted to make a symbol so that throughout all this suffering that we've gone through the last 3 years, we don't forget that this happened.
Yeah, and the pin is a great tribute, along with this music number that we have put together. Imagine there's no heaven.
Take the shot. Take the shot. Take the fucking shot now. But yeah, part of the reason I want this to be remembered isn't just so the people who died aren't forgotten, because I think that's a big thing. The worst fate than dying of a preventable disease is being forgotten afterwards.
Yeah.
Right? And it almost is an insult to the legacy that person had and to all the people who loved them.
Yeah.
And furthermore, it would add insult to injury for our society if we've gone through this, have had a lot of experiences that we could gain from and learn from and grow off of, and just forget. Right?
Yeah.
It's pointless to just forget. So I made this pin. Alex, you can see it. The people here won't be able to. The colored one is the official kind of thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
I made it. There's a lot of, like, I have a whole document for my student government that I'm a part of. Going through it, we got another student organization on board so we can get like school money to produce them. Like, honestly, I'm hoping this takes off well. I hope people gravitate toward it. And I hope that people are able and willing to embrace the grief that they have, right? There are a lot of people who are in such a rush to get back to normal that they never realized that grief is not always mutually, mutually exclusive to loss.
Yeah.
And even if you haven't lost anything, it's still like we've been through a lot, you know? And I want this symbol to kind of symbolize what we've lost and how we got over it and how we persevered and why we persevered. And just so we don't forget, essentially,
Yeah.
what has happened. So I'll get off my soapbox now.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, I just, it bothers me how much COVID like turned into like a debate, you know,
Right.
like how, like, I mean, we know how, but like, how did it turn into a partisan issue? And how did it, like, we used to just deal with shit as a country. Like, I mean, I wasn't there, but like, you know, the Spanish flu in 1918, like, as far as I know, people just like wore masks and like dealt with it. And like, they ended up having a vaccine for the Spanish flu, right?
Yeah, eventually. It's just like the flu shot. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of like it. But that's the thing. We don't question like flu shots.
I mean,
'Cause it's just a
most
thing.
of us don't.
Most of us don't.
There's
but,
like the subset of people that think that it causes autism.
I mean, just vaccines in general is what I think they think.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
but-
I don't think they have a concrete like I don't think they think about the difference
Right.
between like, you know, the influenza vaccine and the, you know, the swine flu and the bird flu. Like, it's just
Yeah.
all autism to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't get how we just couldn't deal with this shit. Like, you know, the vaccine mandate debate is like a whole like tertiary issue to COVID. And like, sure, like it's cool to have a debate about the ideas, you know, when it comes to like, yeah, should we mandate vaccines for people? It's like, can we just talk about it when we're done with the thing that's killing 1 million people?
Right.
Like, can we get to the hypotheticals? Can we get to like the discussion of like your right to convenience when we're done with the
Right.
shit that's
Well, yeah, and
killing
there's-
people?
There's a difference between convenience and on a matter of principle. I feel like a lot of people on a matter of principle was like, no, I want to determine what I put in my own body. And
Right.
I get it. But the science is very, like, for me to just say, oh, the science is very solid, isn't doing it justice. The science has had compounding proofs
Yeah.
that guarantee the fact that vaccines work.
Yeah, there's no good reason not to take the COVID vaccine. And people, like, there are some
Yeah.
people that just are crazy and think that it causes autism. And then there's like
Well, I mean-
the people that are so brain broken by libertarianism that they're like,
Well,
if someone's telling me to do something, then I'm going to never do it.
Well, there's one good argument to passively not get the COVID vaccine, which is if you have like an actual medical problem
Yeah.
that causes you to not be able to take
I
vaccines.
should have specified that.
Like that. Okay, cool. And I guess to like, and I hate to say this because this is not the way it was used in the States, but like religious exemptions. But again, I think a lot of people in the States just were like, it's my religious exemption.
Yeah.
Just to stick it to the vaccine people.
Well, yeah. Well, some places like U of M, like don't ask me specifics because like I don't go there, but Haley does. But U of M, I'm pretty sure had religious / philosophical exemptions. So basically, you have to take the vaccine unless you just don't wanna.
Yeah.
So there was effectively no vaccine mandate.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like I get it. Like I understand what the reasoning is. I just don't agree with it. Like the whole idea
Right.
of religious exemptions as like a category, like as a reason to not do something that just objectively helps the public health. Like,
Right.
unless
Right.
you want to take it to its logical conclusion and just wall yourself off from the entirety of society, like, you don't get to pick and choose. Like, you don't get to have all of the, like, it's the same problem that I have with, like, sovereign citizens and, like, hardcore libertarians. Like, you can't just pick and choose when you want to be part of society. You can't get all of the benefits with none of the responsibilities.
It kind of falls on the lines with like Elon Musk and Twitter, where he's just like free speech for everyone except for people I don't like.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, free speech unless you criticize me. He fired I think an engineer at Twitter because he publicly criticized Elon Musk. Like, there was no pretense, there was no like cover story. It was just the guy criticized him and then he got fired.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't buy religious exemptions because, like, maybe it's just because I have less respect for religion than the average person, but I just don't like that you can, like, it's going to sound mean. Like, and I don't mean to, like if I don't mean for it to be taken as like a personal attack if you are religious, but you don't get to believe.
I hate Jews too, but like the thing is, I'm joking. I'm joking.
It's
That's
not
a joke.
that. No, like, you just don't get to believe in a fairy tale and use that as justification to do something that causes material harm to other people. Like, that's why I don't like circumcision. Like, is a weird religious practice that we really shouldn't be as comfortable with as we are. It is genital mutilation, and just because it's part of a religious practice, that doesn't make it right or good.
Well, right, and I was talking about this too. Like, I'm writing a paper for my argumentation class about polyamory and why it should be like federally recognized as like a marital union if you want to get married to one or more people.
Why not?
Because why not? One, especially when they're 2 or 3 or more consenting adults, right?
Yeah, it doesn't harm anyone other than like if you want to say it's harmful, it doesn't harm anyone except for arguably the people consenting to it, which I don't even think it harms them.
And some tax law. Beyond that, it's like, okay.
Yeah, why not?
Sorry.
But like if Scientology had a rule that you have to gouge out your baby's left eye, I don't think we'd be comfortable with accepting that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we'd be comfortable with accepting that. But if it was like a 6,000-year-old religion instead of a 40-year-old religion, like, what, that would be fine?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think I wrote in the paper, like, just because something was made illegal doesn't mean it's wrong, and just because it's illegal doesn't mean that regulation is constitutional.
Not all things illegal are moral, or whatever he said.
I don't. And
but it actually applies here.
He's like, but not all things that are legal aren't criminal.
Yeah, that's what it was. Not all things legal aren't criminal.
No, that's the definition.
Yeah. But no, that sentiment does apply here. Like, just because something is illegal, it doesn't mean that it's wrong.
Hey, Alex, let me riddle you something. If you do something illegal, that makes you what?
Not all things legal aren't criminal. But no, I get what you're saying. Like, just because.
Well, what's the definition of aren't in that?
Yeah, that depends on your definition of the word is.
Is. Oh, dude, that brings me back to that one Bill Clinton fucking interview. I think they were like,
I smoked it, but I didn't inhale.
I smoked it, but he was. I forget the question, but Bill Clinton was just like, well, that depends. On what the definition of is.
Yeah. For anyone listening that doesn't know, I wish I had like the full context like off the top of my head, but Jordan Peterson was like asked about something. I mean, it's a pretty common story with Jordan Peterson. Oh, Gavin's going to be right back. I think he can still hear me. But anyway, so Jordan Peterson, he was pressed on one of his positions, and it's a pretty common story now to have Jordan Peterson be questioned on something that he said and not have an adequate response. Like when Kyle Kalinske was like, what, do you think that adults shouldn't be allowed to transition? And he was like, oh, but someone was like, oh, I think I remember now. He was being interviewed by a Muslim guy. And part of the interview was he was trying to convince Jordan Peterson to be Muslim. And he was like, well, no amount of evidence could convince me. But this was like a separate thing. So he was like, do you think that Christianity happened? Like, do you think that it literally happened? And he was like, Well, that depends on your definition of the word happened. That's the context.
I'm sorry, did you say context or cop out?
Yeah. Public intellectual Jordan Peterson, quote, "It depends on your definition of the word happened."
I'm just giving the confused Tom face.
Yeah. Oh. So anyway, Gavin, if you start, like, so are you going to be selling those pins, or are you just going to be giving them out as a commemorative thing?
That's the interesting thing. I wanted this to be like a kind of double-edged sword, where we would be producing them and then selling them, and then using the proceeds to donate to
buy a hot tub.
Organization. To buy a hot tub to put in the office. You know, it doesn't help your recovery to be stressed out if you have COVID. So I thought I'd, but no, I wanted to donate the proceeds to a I think it's called National Alliance. Oh God, National Alliance for Mental Health Institute or something like that. It's shortened to NAMI, NAMI.
Okay.
And they help not only just with mental health, but specifically mental health for
National Alliance on Mental Illness. That's what comes up when I Google it.
That's it. And they're really trying to help doctors and nurses who have post-traumatic stress and mental health problems now post-pandemic because of their traumatic experiences going through COVID, especially working on the front lines. Mm-hmm. So I feel very passionate that they should be shown something that we appreciate what they've done.
Yeah, besides like a sign that says, "Thank you, nurses. Do you want a slice of pizza?" Yeah.
Like,
you want a slice of Little Caesars?
Yeah. Imagine if you went to your fucking shrink and was like, "Yeah, so, a bunch of people in my care just died. Their families are now mad at me or sad at me. And, I just want to hang myself." And then imagine the shrink just being like, "You want some pizza?"
Yeah, exactly.
Would that help?
Dude, like, the way that hospitals treated their workers, not giving them a raise, not doing anything substantial for them, just putting out signs that are like, we appreciate our doctors and nurses. Like, that's the equivalent of like paying an artist an exposure.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is too, I saw this one interview like 2 years ago with this. He was a paramedic in an ambulance,
mm-hmm.
right? And like he gets paid. He gets paid decently, but he was talking about like how he's risking his life helping people, and he's more than happy to do it, right? And he's like, people keep on, giving me free food and free pizza, and he's like, man, what I need is healthcare.
Yeah.
I need health coverage. Like, I appreciate the pizza. I can't afford to get sick.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Right? The irony and the injustice there, to me, is inexcusable.
Yeah. I think if you are a healthcare worker, like if you are a hospital, for example, or even like an insurance company, like, you should provide all of your workers adequate health care. Not just like to be a good person, not just because it's right, just to avoid the poetic irony.
I could respect that, right? Just to be like, imagine going to like, I don't know, like a food pantry, and all the workers there are just starving.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, well, why don't you feed them? Exactly. It's like, I just never thought about that bit.
Yeah, just be like, hey, look, we're evil, but we're not monsters. we're evil, right, but we're self-aware, okay?
Yeah, that's, when it's insidious evil, that's where I'm like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
When you know that, like, if your workers get sick, they'll go to you for treatment that you will charge them for from the money that you pay them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's evil.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of evil, we have one news. Well, unless you want to bring up the other current events,
Let's just dive. I haven't listened to any of it.
It could go either way on it. If you want to talk about, if you don't know, Trump is running for president again. And
I mean,
also,
we saw this coming, though.
Yeah, and also Russia
Not surprised.
may or may not have attacked Poland. Like, we know Poland was hit, but we don't know if it was on purpose.
So, I have some information with relevance to Poland that is good to know. So,
well, like
when
the only thing that I want to say with the whole Poland situation, is, no story has ended well that starts with Poland getting attacked. And I just have this to say to Russia.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
That's all that I wanted to say with the Poland coverage.
I've learned that, east of Poland, no invasion has gone very well. Like, even Russia can't invade Russia at this point. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. But, so here's what happened. 2 Russian missiles landed I think it was 3 miles inside of the Polish border. The good news is, okay, so let me start with the bad news, actually. 2 people died. That's tragedy in and of itself. My heart goes out to their families and loved
issue.
Ones. What do you say?
Skill issue. But anyway, we have fun here, but very tragic.
So, NATO had the right to call in Article 5, which is, we're going to war, bud. Right? Obviously they didn't, otherwise we would be at war right now. They called what's called Article 4, which is holding a emergency assembly of all the NATO nations and members to discuss what the next action should be, along with reaching out to Moscow for an explanation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if Moscow at this point in time has reached back to Poland and said, hey, oops, sorry.
Moscow has dissolved its PR team.
Yeah, actually, though. But here
one thing that Russia and Tesla have in common, and now Twitter, I think.
Actually, yeah, and SpaceX.
Yeah.
The kind of good news, relieving news, I would say, is that the 2 missiles that hit Poland landed in a farm.
Oh well, fuck them.
Well, not fuck them, but it's sad regardless. But
it wasn't like a city.
It wasn't. Well, here's the thing: if it was a city, or if it was, I don't know, a place that was holding weapons for the Ukrainian offensive on Russia, that would be a completely different story. And one in which I fear we would be at war by now, right?
Yeah.
It landed in a farm, so the cool heads at NATO are saying there's a very high probability that this was just an accident, because those 2 missiles weren't just 2 missiles that they launched and it happened to land in Poland. They were doing an entire attack of hundreds of missiles on Lviv in Ukraine, and 2 missiles hit Poland. So they think, given the amount of Russian corruption in their military, the fact that their troops aren't well trained, aren't well fed, there's not a lot of discipline in their ranks, they're thinking that a kid just made an oopsie and 2 missiles landed in Poland. So the cooler heads at NATO right now are trying to figure out what Russia was doing, what they meant to do. They're hoping, and I'm hoping that this is an accident.
Yeah, it's incompetence. Incompetency and not malice.
Right, but even if it was incompetency, I hope Russia doesn't do its classic strategy of escalating the situation to get people to the table, which is what they've historically done. Because that's a great way, because regardless, by definition, Poland was attacked by Russia.
Right.
And in that context, NATO has every right to enact Article 5.
Yeah.
It's just that they're choosing not to, because we don't really want to fight a war, honestly.
Exactly, yeah. No, war is so fucked up that, innocent people were killed, and we're like, oh, you meant to kill these other innocent people. Well, that's okay. Not okay, but, acceptable. That's a fucked up part of living in this world.
Exactly. And that's why excuse me. That's why NATO has every right still to enact Article 5, because by definition Poland was attacked.
Right.
Right? So thank the stars that we have cool heads in NATO that aren't on the bandwagon of violence and war. And thank God we have... Okay, I'm going to say this because I don't think people have been saying this enough.
Thank you, healthcare workers. Here's a slice of Little Caesars.
Yeah.
Here's some
Little
stuffed
Caesars.
cheesy bread as a treat.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't think this is said enough. Thank God for diplomats. Thank God for people who go to the negotiating table and with their words talk about what they want and demand and need.
Yeah.
So that you and I don't have to die for the needs of maybe a handful of executives.
Yeah. Look,
You know?
yeah, when two countries are going at it, when they're really fighting, in situations like that, I start to say this.
We want Shirley! We want Shirley!
Because
Surely you have to be kidding me.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
No, he says,
The
I'm
joke
not kidding,
is
and
that
don't call me Shirley.
Temple was later in life the ambassador to Ghana.
Which is cool, I think.
Cool. That's
really
that's an
dope.
interesting career change.
Well, it really shows the capacity of America to do great things, because you can go from being like an actress from like a young age to fucking diplomat of Ghana.
Right.
Like,
well, it's like any
hell
other
yeah.
like pageant
Fuck
baby.
it. Exactly.
So many I was a pageant baby technically.
What did you do?
I was in a number of pageants as a baby.
Oh.
Yeah, I won some
Sounds a little
awards because I
fruity.
was hot. I was the most fuckable baby in Michigan.
Your
A panel
mom
of
is
elderly people voted me most fuckable baby
that
out of
okay.
actually multiple states. But yeah, it's like any other
Wow.
pageant baby growing up to do literally anything other than pageants.
Wow. Explains a lot, actually.
Yeah. I was the most fuckable baby, and look where I am now.
All right, so let's take this shot of copium here.
Yeah, so anyway,
Trump's running
speaking
for
of
president.
evil, Fox News, one of their, I guess the show is called Outnumbered, one of their shows that play at like 1 p.m. while wine moms are like folding laundry. I guess there was a study that came out that said that if you're a college student, holding a cat, like petting a cat, is a good way to relieve stress, which I'm not really surprised. Like, okay, it's cute that they did a study on it. Like, that's supposed to be just a headline that you scroll past and you're like, okay.
Yeah, no shit.
But they spent...
Like, I'm a college student. That's why I got a cat, motherfucker, because I'm stressed.
Right. Well, like, anyone that's owned a cat, I mean, assuming you don't own the cat from hell, like, anyone that owns a cat knows, like, yeah, I like petting it. And I feel like I don't want to kill myself when I pet this cat. Like, it's not
Also,
really breaking news.
The act of taking care of an animal, too, has been shown to be very fulfilling for people, especially
Yeah.
people going through terminal diseases. I've learned. So, I mean, there's a whole thing about that, too. So it's not just the cat, it's the act of taking care of something.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. But my point is, it's not really like groundbreaking. It's not like we're just now hearing about this. But Fox News, these freaks, for some reason had to take 3.5 minutes out of their day to say that college kids are snowflakes because a study showed that they like to pet cats. Anyway, Jamie, roll the tape. Wait, I'll share my screen.
My name isn't Jamie.
Protester where you're out there protesting about everything on campus, then I don't know if you really need a cat. I'm not really sure. But this is just another example of how we are raising snowflakes. Because, I mean, if you honestly can't make it in college, then just drop out. I mean, well, although I know a lot of people want to take advantage of the freebies, but just drop out anyway. Do us all a favor. I don't think animal rights activists would be too proud of this either. I wouldn't want any college student manhandling my cat.
Yeah, but Kaylee, I don't think these kids need.
That's a weird angle. And like they go back to that multiple times, actually. The whole, why is PETA standing by and letting this happen? Like, I don't know if they're just being purposefully obtuse or if they like are morons. but they're not saying like, yeah, you can skin a cat and it'll help you on your exams. Like, it's just like, yeah, taking care of an animal, it makes you feel better.
I mean, I kind of understand her principle that she's getting at, though. Like, for instance, I mean, if you're, let's say, a president who gets, impeached twice, let's say, just drop out of office, just quit.
Yeah.
Just leave and never come back, actually. Just get out of politics, get out of Dodge. Stop, is what I'm trying to say. If your entire cabinet quits because you did the equivalent of a coup, just stop.
Look, if your job is to read the news, which includes a lot of fucked up stuff, if your job is to read and react to the news, and you can't handle the idea of college students liking to pet cats, quit your job. Drop out of the news business because you're too much of a snowflake to handle it.
Like, also, there are people who just have a cat because they like cats.
Yeah.
Like,
there's no deeper political meaning to it.
They just like cats, man. Like, why you got to get on their dick about it? Like Shane Dawson.
I wouldn't want any college student manhandling my cat.
Yeah, but Kaylee, I don't think these kids need cats. I think they need discipline. I think they need a slap in the face. Because these are the same kids that get a professor fired for being too hard on their way to medical school.
Point.
These are kids that can't even
Says
listen
the person
to
who went to medical school. Oh, wait.
Yeah. Yeah, what's your degree in? Communications?
Yeah. No, I actually fucked the producer to get on here, so...
Which is bad. Okay, it's bad for if the producer put her in a position. Okay, the blame is on the producer, just to be clear.
My credentials are this tight pussy.
Yeah. No, these people are freaks. Like, I'm going to elaborate more on it later, but these people have done nothing of substance with their lives.
They're just bottom feeders.
Yeah.
On their way to medical school.
Point.
These are kids that can't even listen to a conservative viewpoint. They shout out speakers. They chase them off campus. But a cat will make everything better. Guess what? That doesn't work in the real world.
Yeah, you're talking about my professor that I love so much.
That doesn't work in the real world.
Yeah.
Except it's actively working in the real world. I don't know what your fucking point is.
Yeah, I mean...
What?
Isn't everything the real world?
Yeah, you see, okay, this reminds me of when I was in fucking high school, and the teacher would be like, yeah, you can't do this shit in college, that won't fly. Well, if that shit's not gonna fly, this college might as well be an airport, because damn. Yeah.
From everything that I have heard, more shit flies in college than anywhere else.
Dude, even my teacher was just like, hey, like, if you guys need a mental health day, just email me. Like, it's fine. Yeah. Everyone needs a day sometimes. I need a day sometimes, is what the teacher said.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, I just hate this constant stigma around, like, hey, my brain is not good, and I kind of want to jump off a building.
Yeah.
Like, hey, don't do that, and get help.
Yeah, no, it's weird.
And you know what? That help sometimes takes time, and you need to take a break from other things to get your brain back in order a little bit. Yeah,
nothing
it's wrong
weird
with that.
It's weird to have the mindset that you should be productive all the time, and you should always like be doing something. Like you should always just be operating like a machine. Like that's just a weird mindset. Also,
stop stoicizing like fucking suffering.
Yeah.
There's no dignity in suffering.
Yeah. It's not like a moral like accomplishment to just have a worse time.
I mean, there can be dignity in suffering. What I'm talking about is self-imposed suffering, right? There's no dignity in actively living with a problem that you could fix.
Yeah, like if you're suffering from something that you can't really feasibly like control, like if you're terminally ill, like there's some dignity in like how you choose to deal with it, but like it's not like you're not better for having suffering, like it isn't good to suffer.
Like and to that point too, I think what like I boiled that down to from is there's no dignity in being traumatized.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not
which is kind of the byproduct of suffering.
Yeah, it's not.
Right?
It's not a moral failure or a moral accomplishment whether or not you like do something in a more difficult way.
Right.
And also, before we get through the rest of this, she mentioned like, yeah, these snowflake college kids can't handle a conservative viewpoint. I'm like, bro, what happened to the free market of ideas? I thought you were all about that shit. Like,
well, also, a lot of
the free market has determined conservative views to not be of value. So deal with it.
And the thing that I've noticed most of all that is kind of the reason that these college students are so kind of PO'd is because they're tired of having their time wasted talking about points that were more or less settled in the 60s.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, like, if Ben Shapiro comes to a school and he does his whole, like, you know, trans people are subhuman and you should economically suffer. Like, if he does this whole thing there and people don't like it to the point that they're protesting, like, bro, that's the free market of ideas. That's free speech.
Right. And, like, yeah, I just think that a lot of college students are just tired of hearing things that we've already gone past. We've already been there, done that.
Yeah.
In terms of, hey, let's treat transgender people as people, because I was taught in kindergarten,
yeah,
to teach to treat people with dignity and respect and be kind to everyone.
Yeah. Well, I've never seen a single person on the left, but I see so many conservatives like try to make the argument that they're not only owed a platform, but an audience, an unquestioning audience.
Oh, not even that. It goes beyond that too. They're not only owed a platform and an audience, they're also owed to be right and to not have consequences for what they say.
Yeah, facts don't care about your feelings, but you have to respect my opinion because I had that opinion and it's good and right by virtue of me thinking it. And like
I'm sorry.
Wait, who's the snowflake here?
If you're going to go on a big platform and say that slavery was a choice and then you get fired from your job, yeah, I'm sorry you brought that upon yourself, bud.
Yeah, that's a real thing Kanye West said. Slavery was a choice on the part of African Americans. Yeah. Absolutely rabid. But no, college kids are the snowflakes because, again, this was all about petting cats. That's where this started.
I just like cats, man.
Yeah.
My little guy at home, my little Roofy Doof. That's what I call him. His name is Rufus. He's my little dude. He's my little guy. And I hug him and he gives me nom-noms, which is what I call him licking my nose. And he's adorable and I love him. I love his fat little tummy. Mm-hmm. And if Fox News is going to call me a snowflake, then damn, it must be cold out there, eh?
Yeah, very fitting because it's November and it's starting to snow.
I see what I did there?
Yeah.
Back at NYU. Yes.
Okay.
No, I remember on one of my campuses getting a note that there would be dogs and puppies for us to soothe us during exam time. And I thought, is this real? I mean,
you did not think that.
What a distraction for kids who don't want to study.
You didn't think that.
Number one. Number two, I don't need to be coddling a puppy. I need my, organic chemistry book if I'm, in pre-med here.
You didn't do
this
organic
is insanity. Give me a cup of coffee, a cookie, and a stack of books, and I'm set.
Wow, you want a cup of coffee and a cookie? What a snowflake.
I'm sorry, motherfucker. You didn't buy a goddamn meal plan, bitch.
Yeah. Well, I wanted this. I specifically wanted to get to this when we talked about this on the show because, simultaneously, they're putting other people down for what they like while being and I like this thing and platforming, putting their shit on a pedestal. Maybe how you see a cat is how other people would see a cup of coffee and a cookie. A cookie? Really? That's a bare necessity for you?
Can I also mention, so there's nowhere on campus unless you have a meal plan that you can get free food unless you want to go to the food pantry, which no shame in that.
Well, I mean, these people have never worried about money a day in their lives.
Well, right. And I'm sorry, you're on Fox News. I highly doubt you studied organic chemistry.
Yeah. And I think one of them is going to bring it up in a second.
And given that, let's say you did, given that you're on Fox News, I imagine that you failed it because you were that stressed out about it.
Yeah. Well, I think when we get back into the clip, one of them is going to be like, "Oh, did you take Orgo?" And she was, and I think the one that was saying that. Ooh, what happened?
Did you lose your mouse?
Oh, I can hear you. Can you hear me right now?
I can hear you.
Okay, for some reason, like, oh, I guess it's just the one screen. Okay, for some reason, like my whole like thing froze. Okay, it's back up now, but for some reason, like, I was terrified. My computer like froze, like nothing was responding. So I was worried that like everything crashed. But anyway, I think when we get back into it, like the next part will be someone's like, "Oh, you took Orgo," and she's gonna be like, "No, I took like communications or whatever."
Yeah, motherfucker, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
Books, and I'm set. I don't need a puppy in my lap to study for exams.
That's right, but they're also getting free tuition too. So the list is endless of what these kids are getting with our tax dollars.
It is, and it's also part of the indoctrination. I mean, they are being trained. You might go in there thinking, I've got to get my philosophy book, I got to get, the chemistry book. And then you're told effectively by the university, no, you need a puppy. This is what you need.
That is not at all the situation.
Okay, can I say one other thing too? Like, my university that I'm currently attending has the same thing. They say, hey, in case, and it's like not even like you need a puppy. It's like, and I feel bad even playing into that talking point. I have information that completely contradicts what she says. It's like, hey, if you're stressed, which we get it, exams can be stressful. If you're stressed and you have time, come and pet a puppy and just relax. Because fuck you, puppies are cute.
Yeah. Well, it's like I said earlier, we're not machines. We're like people, right? So sometimes we just need to pet a fucking puppy.
Right. Yeah, and also fuck you. I like puppies. Can I just like puppies?
Well, like the core of their argument is like, no, you're not allowed to have nice things. You're not allowed to have just any comforts. Right. You should sleep on a stone slab. Your pillow should be rocks.
It's funny they're talking about, and they're getting free tuition because of our tax dollars. Where is that money? I don't see that money. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, you might be talking about the Biden $10,000 off thing, but I mean,
that was stricken down in a lawsuit.
Yeah, it's like me giving you a water bottle and saying, "Hey, I gave you a gallon."
Yeah. Well, like if she's talking about the Biden student loans thing, like that isn't exactly like I feel like weird explaining it. But it's not like you're going to get a bill in the mail that's like, here, you owe $1,000 for this person's college education. Pay up, Like, it's not like that. You're not getting a bill. This is coming out of like a hypothetical large pile of money that our government pretends we have and allocates towards certain things. And it's not even coming out of that. It's just that like they're forgiving debt that is owed to them. So it's not that money's coming out. It's just less is coming in.
Right.
And if she's talking about that specifically, if she's talking about like financial aid, like that's just fine. Like a lot of it is like private. A lot of it is from the university. I think some of it comes from like federal programs. I don't know.
State, federal. It's kind of like a general thing, but you have to opt into it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, so just to kind of tell about my situation, I was given the opportunity that everyone is given to get federal student loan stuff. I'm lucky enough and privileged enough that my parents could kind of cover school for me. And so I don't like owe anything to the college. I've paid for the semester up front. Which is also a good thing because when you take federal student loans out and when you take unsubsidized student loans out, you also have to pay interest on top of that money, which to me just seems like a poor tax.
Yeah.
So fuck them. One thing. So fuck them.
Yeah. The idea of like a federal, this is federal loans, right? Like this is like money borrowed from the government.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the idea that the government, like the entity that we, at least in theory, like collectively own, like the idea that would charge interest from its own citizens just feels so like cannibalistic to me.
Well, that's not, I think that's more of a private thing, not a not a government thing.
The government loans don't have interest?
I don't because by definition that's double taxation.
Yeah, I should stipulate if they do have interest. In that case, then it feels very cannibalistic.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just lucky that my loans for this semester at least are taken care of. And then it should be taken care of for the rest of my degree. So I'm gonna be fine. It's sad to watch a group of adults who have been handed everything on a silver platter talk about how these poor kids, both poor kids as in I feel bad for them, and poor kids as in they don't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
As though they're the scum of the earth for wanting to pet a cat and or dog.
Yeah. Yeah, that the worst thing that the upper crust of capitalists, the worst thing that they've done to us is pit quote unquote middle class people against poor people instead of pointing the blame where it belongs. Instead of blaming Walmart for high prices at Walmart, we blame the impoverished people working there and immigrants for some reason.
Or they blame the middle class for not buying enough.
Yeah. It's just
and
evil.
Also it reminds me of this George Carlin quote that was we have the rich to scare the middle class into working, and we have the poor to scare the middle class into getting poor.
Yeah.
Right? So, fact of the matter is, fuck them.
Yeah. Anyway, more of the clip.
University, no, you need a puppy. This is what you need. Cats, I'm not so sure. Cats could walk away from you, which is even more traumatic when they don't come when they're called. But so, I was on Wall Street walking my dog, my collie.
Of course she was on Wall Street.
Shepherd mix, who's since passed away, named Sydney. And there were students at Wall Street near the stock market, and they all ran at us, and Sydney loved it. But they said, we're studying, we're in the midst of finals. And I said, well, instead of hugging my dog, you should go back to studying.
Amen.
And
this is
I know.
What a
it's
bitch.
Get back to the factory. Get back. Heal.
Fucking asshole, dude. What the hell?
Yeah. Get back to work.
I'm stressed. Hey, I'm in the middle of final. Can I just pet your dog real quick? No, go back to studying.
You don't get a single moment of solace. You get nothing.
Take out your wallet. Give me $5.
Yeah. This is what they're. Hold on. I can never remember what page it's on. This is what they're saying.
You're ugly. You're disgusting. I'm going to kill you. Give me $200.
They don't like hanging out with us poors.
Yeah. Oh, just absolutely evil. They hate you.
You should go back to studying.
Amen.
And this is because it's the training for the real world. No one's going to hand you a puppy in the real world. And I think that
unless you go to an adoption center.
Yeah, for the people who are actively willing to pay for the vaccinations that they gave the dog or cat.
Yeah, it's just not only is she wrong morally, but she's just factually incorrect. Sometimes people will hand you a puppy. Sometimes you go to a friend's house and they have a puppy.
And they're like, you want this dog?
And they're like, you want to?
Sure.
Can you hold my dog while I take a shit?
Yeah.
Puppy in the real world. And I think that's one of the most important lessons. Right?
Yep, 100%.
Nuts. I was looking for a puppy on the couch. Maybe a cat. Okay, these kids are the problem. All joking aside, they're the problem. If you need a cat or you need a puppy, you don't belong in college. By the way, which was harder, con law or orgo?
I didn't take organic chem. I took con law and I loved it.
Yeah. She didn't take organic chemistry.
Suck my wiggly dick. Fuck you.
But
How dare you?
I'm really thankful that this guy said, all joking aside,
called her out.
All joking aside, these kids are the problem. Okay, yeah, I wasn't sure from all the other times that they've said that.
Oh.
Dude,
I feel such a mix of anger and vindication.
Yeah.
I'm
he didn't even mean to call her out. He didn't mean to call her out, but he was like, "Oh yeah, you took orgo, right?" And she was like, "Nah."
And the last I checked, common law is a gen ed for law.
Yeah, that's the feeling that I got watching this. No, she was not studying to be a lawyer. She was not taking the bar exam. She was just taking enough classes to build her connections and get her cushy job at Fox News.
Let me put it this way, dude. I'm double majoring right now in communications and political science, right? I'm still getting the classes for my political science major kind of set up, but from what I've been told, comm law is just kind of a thing that's thrown in there. Because it's just good to know how, our society legally functions. So, fuck her. Just fuck her. I'm so, Ooh, you totally just lied to our face. I just gave my organic chemistry books and a cookie, and I was fine.
Yeah.
Suck my dick.
These people.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, con law was great. Big red book. This is an idea of building a society of betas. All right? We've achieved because we're a society of people who look forward, who are entrepreneurs, who go out and find something. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, all these innovators out there, Bill Gates.
Really bad examples.
Bill Gates is not a fucking alpha. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no. Bad examples. I don't know what I barely know anything about Bill Gates.
Actively getting cucked now.
I don't know anything about, aside from the whole alpha thing, none of them are really alphas.
I don't know what the fuck he's off about.
But in terms of what he's talking about, which is the whole meritocracy argument, these people are so great because they're awesome. I don't know much about Bill Gates other than he's a creep that founded Microsoft. Maybe that was all built on his own talent. I don't know. Jeff Bezos, I don't know how he started, but I know how he is now, and he's the most evil person on the planet. Well, except for some very bizarre recent events with him that I don't have time to get to right now. But Elon Musk. We both know here. I'm sure a lot of people now know that he did not get to where he is based on his own talent. His parents owned an apartheid emerald mine in South Africa, and they had a pile of money that he just built upon. He didn't get the only time that you could argue he got somewhere on his own talent was when he co-founded PayPal, which even then wasn't on his own. So he doesn't fit their narrative.
Can I just say just from what I've kind of picked up on?
Actually, if I had to sum it up if I had to sum it up succinctly, I would say this:
you are radically unsuccessful. You are a giant loser, a giant who is a loser and also a giant loser.
It's in my contract that I have to push the buttons every 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's all good. How you can tell that someone is at least somewhat intelligent is when you ask them what they did to get to where they are, and they explain it, but they explain it not in a way of I ate nothing but rice, and I slept on the same bed, and I woke up at 4 a.m. and I did 1 million push-ups every morning.
All I needed was a cup of coffee and a cookie, because I am a baby.
Right. They just kind of say what they did because that's just what they did.
Right.
Right? And they understand metacognitively, and they are kind of letting you know non-verbally that that's just what they did, and that's not the way to do it.
Right. It's like asking what they ate for breakfast.
Right. And so that's just kind of how you know someone just did something that worked. And have some intelligence in explaining how they did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Whenever people conservative people, or anyone that likes Elon Musk, whenever they talk about Elon Musk, we talked about it enough last week, so I won't go on about it, but they always talk about him like he is literally Iron Man, and it's so annoying. But anyway, we only have 30 seconds left in the clip.
Okay. They founded something in a garage instead of petting a cat. They programmed.
Oh, by the way, I forgot. I also wanted. That reminds me. I wanted to bring this up too. So the whole story, which is the details are dubious. Okay, the whole Bill Gates and Steve Jobs dropped out and they invented computers in their garage. That whole story, beyond it's not really how they present it. if that happened today, if some college student had a startup in their garage and they dropped out to pursue it, these very same people would be against them. They'd be like, oh, these snowflakes dropping out of their higher education. Unless they were like on their side, then they'd be like, oh, these are innovators. They're so cool and awesome.
Well, and like, this is how you really know, like, and like, I'm not sure how many people actually like dig into like why Fox News says the things that they say, but this is how you know they're trying to peddle an opinion, because they're implying an inference on people's behaviors without actually asking the people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they're so far removed from being even near the same demographic as these people that they're talking about.
This is why Fox News isn't actual news, because any actual news source would be like, yeah, so college kids are getting a lot of cats. We asked them, we did some interviews with them, and it turns out it's because they're stressed out about exams and the cat helps. And then they pass their exams. So it's all okay at the end.
Yeah. And I'm willing to give them some leeway, because like, this isn't necessarily like a news program. It says
Fox News in the bottom corner.
Right. I mean, that's the name of the channel, but I understand that this particular show that they're doing is mostly like, it's more so commentary than like actual reporting, kind of like what we do here. So I give them some bit of leeway when it comes to like, you know, journalistic integrity and like straw manning their opposition or whatever. Like, I give them a little bit of forgiveness for like not being like a news program, but their commentary just is bad. This is just bad commentary.
I'm just gonna say, like, I kind of disagree with you on that, actually. This is kind of a hard line for me. They're actively advertising themselves as a news source when this is only commentary.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I understand. Like, yeah, it's on Fox
look at the setup.
News.
It's like Good Morning America.
It is.
You know what I mean? An actual room of actual journalists who actually went out and did interviews to get correct information.
Yeah, and people do treat this as a news source. So yeah, I mean, if it didn't say news in the corner, like I'd be like, okay, fine.
It shouldn't.
Commentary.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
it shouldn't say news in the corner. It should say Fox and Friends.
That is true. That is true.
Right?
Yeah.
What is this? It's not news, so why does it say Fox News?
That's very true. But yeah, I mean, beyond giving them any like forgiveness for it being commentary, like it is just bad commentary. Like, not only is it not news, it's also bad at being not news.
Like, even when the New York Times even like gets a little like tinge of opinion, they feel obligated to put in brackets, this is an opinion piece.
Yeah.
Even if the majority of the information they're giving out is factual.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, kind of fuck them, you know? These are not good people. But
well,
anyway,
another reason... Sorry, one more thing and I'll be done, I promise. Another reason why Fox News isn't actual news is because people have sued them for slander. And
I know where you're going with this, yeah.
Yeah. And every single time, Fox News and their huge corporate lawyers and backers have said, no, it's not news because no one in their right mind would believe anything that we're saying. This is entertainment.
I want to say specifically Tucker Carlson had a situation like that where someone tried to sue him. It might have been for like his whole ivermectin thing. It might have been for something else. It might have been election related. But yeah, his defense was no reason. I think Alex Jones also did this. But yeah, it was like no reasonable person would actually treat this as a credible news source. And I just think that's wonderful.
Well, and then it's also funny because then you see multiple reasonable people using it as a news source.
Yep.
Right? So either you can say, no, but they're not reasonable, which they clearly are, or that you're just bullshitting us in the legal system.
Yeah. Yeah, I will stipulate, not to defend Fox News, but just as a little caveat, sometimes, like my theory is that when no one's looking, Fox News does actual journalism, because I don't know if you saw this story in particular, but a few months back, there was a news story, like more so like a puff piece about this like family, like, you know, white picket fence, golden retriever, like white as snow family that had a transgender kid in the family. And it was like a 14-year-old trans boy. And like the family just treated him like a normal teenage boy, and they like accepted him and his identity. And like, I don't know, Fox did like a story on it, and like Fox was the network, like they like published the story. Like it wasn't commentary on another site's story. Like that was a Fox News story, and it was actually like pretty like positive about this family. So
well, yeah, when they're white and Christian, then it's fine.
Exactly. Yeah, when it's a white Christian like golden retriever family, it's fine. But I just thought that was bizarre that Fox News of all networks would be the people to report on that. But yeah, I just wanted to add a little bit of caveat, a little nuance. Like when no one is looking, they do like weirdly good journalism. But yeah, when they know that they're being watched, it's like, yeah, the border and the trans kids and LGBTQ and the CRT communism. But
it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get through the rest of this and move on.
A cat, they programmed the keyboard. Maybe somebody started a manufacturing plant with an idea. Come on, these kids are not the problem. By the way, how do you take care of the cats? How do you take care of the dogs? Where's PETA? And why are you going to hurt the cats and the dogs by putting bad kids who can't get around life on top of them? Come on, really?
Well, I'm
Give
sure
the
there'll
cats
be
a break.
protests from all the kids with allergies, so just wait for the backlash.
That too.
Yeah, the other side of the snowflakes that can't handle it. All right, we're outnumbered in just a moment.
Yeah, you
So,
know why you're
anyway,
outnumbered?
I don't
you know
get
why you're outnumbered? Because you're fucking wrong.
Yeah. No, I don't get that particular talking point. Like, oh, why isn't PETA getting involved? Like, no one is talking about like skinning these cats. Like, it's just people having pets. Like, how are you going to take care of them? With litter and food and water and taking them outside.
Occasionally. Yeah.
Like, oh my God, it's not a complicated situation.
You know, I would like one actual doctor to come on and be like, "Hey, so y'all are fucking stupid."
Yeah.
I don't even know. I don't know why anyone even fucking gives these like sons of bitches the time of day. Honestly.
Yeah, I would love so much to go on one of these shows as like a guest on the panel and just like beat them at their own game. I would love to go on there and be like, what do you mean you need a cup of coffee and a cookie? What are you, a pussy? You know, I would love, because like you can't beat like a far right person with far left talking points. Like you can't be like, well, actually or even just like medically accurate talking points. You can't be like, well, actually studies prove that, like that they're not going to respond to that. You got to meet them on their own level and match their vibe. And I want so desperately to be able to do that.
Yeah. I just don't even like, she brought up like, I just need my coffee and my cookie. I'm like, yeah, if you have a meal plan, you fucking bitch.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Where do we get a free coffee and cookie?
Yeah, I mean, like, I assumed that she meant a cup of coffee and cookie that she paid for, but yeah, I mean, either way, like, it plays into my point that these people have never worried about money.
Wouldn't it be funny if she meant like an edible?
Yeah. I just need to get high as a kite, and then I'm good.
Yeah, I just need to get high as a kite so that I can pass this Orgo class that it's not actually what I'm taking. I took common law.
If I were to take Orgo. Yeah, no, these people hate you. Doesn't matter who you are. They hate you and they want you to suffer. Also, someone, I linked this in the show notes and because I wanted to remember to bring this up. But, by the way, the original video, this is from Justin Baragona on Twitter. Link in description for the original video on Twitter, but I wanted to highlight one of the replies from Tammy Dobert. They said, "Are these the same kids that can't learn about slavery because it may hurt their feelings?" And like, that's an excellent point. These commentators are the same people that make the argument that we shouldn't teach like slavery or like Native American genocide, or like sometimes some of them say the Holocaust, because it would make white kids feel bad. They pick and choose when they want to be snowflakes. And
it's not like the fact of these historical events are meant to attack anyone.
Yeah, it's not like
right?
You did this. It's like,
right.
You know, if you don't know, if you don't learn history, you're doomed to repeat it.
Hey, here's the funny story. Not funny, but a story. So Ronald Reagan during the war was responsible for like dubbing over. What?
Which war?
World War II.
Oh, okay.
Second World War. He was responsible. Like he was an actor at the time, right? But he was responsible for dubbing over training videos for fighter pilots for when they would be doing bombing raids over Japan, right? So they made all these sets, and he would voice over like, right now you are over the city of Hiroshima, right? Mm-hmm. That was him. Well, he got he had to make a video for, I think it was the United States Congress. He had to dub a video about the Holocaust, of like what happened, and he decided to keep one of the videos, one of the original clips, right? One of the original reels. And when his son was old enough, he showed his son the video to explain what we need to do to the liberals.
Jesus.
I'm joking. I'm actually joking. Sorry. I shouldn't have joked about that.
No, you shouldn't joke about that because it's too close to the truth.
I'm sorry. That did not actually happen. He did keep one of the reels, though. He was responsible for kind of dubbing over like what happened and explaining it to the people who were in Congress. But he kept one of the reels so he could show his son, who, by the way, is now a liberal atheist, may I add.
That's awesome.
To show his son so that his son was well aware of what humans could do to one another.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, and if he was like around today, and if he was doing that today, like conservatives would be like, you fucking liberals, snowflake, showing people the
listen,
Holocaust.
If conservative Jesus can do it, you can too.
Yeah. No, another unrelated thing about Ronald Reagan. He also acted alongside a chimpanzee.
Oh, don't say that.
Imagine. Look, I don't mean for this to come off the wrong way.
I know what you're already going to say.
Imagine,
I'm aware.
Imagine the amount of good that chimpanzee could have done for this country.
You're a fucking asshole.
No, that's horrible. I realize.
I mean, I just made a joke about something else, so. I mean.
No, I realize. Look, just imagine how different of a world we would be living in if that chimpanzee just didn't hold its composure. Anyway.
Ugh. Holy shit.
And if that chimpanzee did do something, then they'd say,
"That's outrageous. We got Joe Biden to thank for this."
I do want to say sorry for that joke that I said about Ronald Reagan showing his son the video.
We have fun here.
It's a joke. I'm joking.
Yeah. No. He took it a little too far, Ronald Reagan did.
Wait, what?
In the joke.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I took it too far, Ronald Reagan did.
No, Ronald Reagan did.
Oh.
Yeah. If he had done that.
If that would be fucked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
That would make him a bad dude.
That, I would say that's bad. Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very bad.
I mean, beside the fact that you can trace back every modern systemic problem to Ronald Reagan.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I say, imagine that chimp did not know the power that it held.
Dude, to think that like 50 pounds of fast twitch muscle reflex could have just ripped his fucking scalp off.
Dude.
Could you imagine? Oh, I just imagine the monkey going fucking apeshit and just grabbing his mop and just like.
And he'd be like, "This is for Jane Fonda."
Just for Jane Fonda.
Anyway, we watched a movie this week.
We totally watched a movie this week.
We watched Weird, the Al Yankovic Story. So
man, the 100% true story.
Yeah, no, you learn a lot about the life of one Alfred Yankovic from this movie.
Yeah.
And it's all, I mean, he said himself, it's all 100% true.
Completely.
And Gavin, you've talked to me a little bit about it. You seem to really enjoy it.
I really quite enjoyed it. I kind of like the aspect of like, some of it must have been true.
Oh, yeah. I've
right?
seen some interviews that he's done, like, since the movie came out. People were asking, like, oh, did you really get your accordion from a traveling salesman? Apparently he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to think that the whole plot deviated so much based on just, like, one half-truth that was said at the beginning, and it just spiraled off of that from there.
No, it's
you know
great.
what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that, like,
it
starts off with, like...
pretty close.
With his dad, just, like... It turns out his dad was just kind of upset, but not, like, he didn't beat up the salesman. Right? And then it goes from that to, like, 30 years later, and Madonna's head of the drug cartel.
Yeah, and Weird Al gets assassinated.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Weird Al dies at the end of his own biopic.
I love it. I love it so much. Great. And then is allegedly back as a zombie, which I like to think is the original start to The Walking Dead.
Yeah. I mean, there's no reason to believe that it's not connected.
Like, I don't have any proof that it's not connected.
Yeah, we don't know until they say that it's not canon. Like,
right.
You know, you can go with whatever you want. But no, you mentioned like how much it escalates. Like that's something that I think is really funny. Like it starts off like pretty close to the truth. Then like, you know, the little like gags stack and like compound on each other until you get to like, you know, like he writes "Eat It" after like an LSD trip. And then like I'm only writing original songs now.
Yeah.
And then Michael Jackson writes "Beat It" after the fact. And like, I think a lot of people would have had like this same comparison, but it's pretty similar to Walk Hard in that they're both like parodies of the genre of musical biopic.
I liked how Walk Hard was based on a completely fictitious character.
Yeah.
Which so you don't have to. It's not a lot of thinky stuff. It's just like funny.
Yeah, it's mostly just making fun of like the tropes.
Right. I love how the Weird Al Yankovic story. Is it Yankovic or Yankovic?
Yankovic.
I like how the Weird Al Yankovic story is a movie based on a real guy, so it causes you like you have to think.
Right.
Like, hold on,
and it's also the guy making the movie.
Right. Yeah. So you know, and it's Weird Al. You like. It's not like he's doing this to stroke his own ego.
Yeah.
You know?
Like Walk Hard like is mostly just like a parody of musical biopics, like for the sake of like making fun of the tropes. But like not only is this like not only is it like a parody of musical biopics, but it's also just like a Weird Al biopic, but done in the style of Weird Al.
Exactly.
So like it's the parody, but it's also like that's the thing.
Right. I do have a funny story, actually. I went on like 3 dates with this girl once last summer. And, I was asking her about what kind of music she liked, and we did not have common interests at all. So
that's why you say past tense. Like
past tense, not current.
Had 3 dates.
Had 3 dates in the summer.
Yeah.
Back when. And so I was like, hey, do you like Nirvana? And she was like, you mean that Weird Al song?
Yo, she's a keeper. Yeah, he got to bag her.
And I was like, I'm like, that's an actual band, right?
No, that's great.
And she's like, no, what? And I was like, yeah, Nirvana, Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
Like, really?
No, like the Weird Al song Smells Like Nirvana.
Yeah.
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 Wait, they made a whole band based on that?
Wow, that's crazy. That a whole band.
That's awesome. Couldn't have asked for a better outcome for that question.
It's so coincidental. I love how like Rob Zombie happened to join a band that happened to be called Rob Zombie.
Yeah. But yeah, I like how weird the Al Yankovic story like kind of makes fun of like not just the tropes, but also the vibe of musical biopics. Where like, you know, you as an audience member know that Weird Al is the guy making the movie. And so he kind of like includes like, you know, like facetious, like vanity moments, you know,
for sure.
I think I mentioned this to you, but Bohemian Rhapsody was partly produced by Roger Taylor and Brian May, the drummer and the guitarist for Queen. And like, you know, you can kind of tell that they had a hand in it just based on how their characters are portrayed. Oh, that looks like a big yawn that Gavin's having.
Oh, what did you say? I'm sorry.
I said that it looks like a big yawn that Gavin's having.
Oh yeah, wow. That yawn took energy, man. Yeah. Fuck.
But like you can tell like in how their characters are portrayed because like, you know, John Deacon is alive, but he like is really trying not to be involved in anything with the band or in public. So his character, like he's just kind of there. Like he doesn't say much, doesn't do much. And Freddie, like, he's dead. He's like the dead front man. So they can just kind of, you know, have him do
shit
whatever.
on his grave.
Yeah, they can shit on his grave. Like, I mean, a lot of it is accurate, but like it feels like a lot of it is just kind of elevating how much he liked to party, which he did. He did like to party.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, like downplaying their own like involvement in a way. Because like in the movie, like they're always the ones that are like, oh, you know, Freddie, we should really go home and we should get some sleep before a concert. And Freddie's like, oh, I don't care. I just want to party and do drugs. I can't do a Freddie Mercury impression, but you know.
I don't really care, darling. I just wanted to party and do drugs.
Yeah. And like, to be fair, that was a lot of what he liked to do. But
I mean, yeah. If like, I were a bajillionaire, I'd do that too.
Well, like, Brian and Roger were like the reasonable ones, and you can tell like they were portrayed like that because they didn't want to look bad.
Mm-hmm.
And like you can kind of see Weird Al making fun of that thing in like how much he just elevates how much of a badass he is in the movie.
Yeah,
like when he has that John Wick style fight in the diner.
Yeah,
like I thought that was hilarious. And then when he like goes into the jungle in like the camo like Hawaiian shirt.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And like the fact that he's played by Daniel Radcliffe, who has
I was gonna talk about that too.
Chiseled washboard abs.
Also, so if you don't know, Daniel Radcliffe has the most dry-witted humor.
Mm-hmm.
That I just love about him, right? It's like the self-defeating dry wit humor that he has to him. And so being in this facetious, more or less fictitious movie that's designed to be dry-witted humor, right? He's perfect for it because he can do that perfect line between like you can tell at some points he's just overacting before the bit,
right?
For the joke, and then sometimes, like he's dipping a toe into like real acting, just perfect, just like the perfect amount,
right? Well, I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but this is the same praise that I have for Leslie Nielsen in his comedic roles and Robert Pattinson in Twilight,
right?
And what was the guy's name? I want to say like Ansel something. Hold on. The guy that played Eon in Ben 10 Race Against Time.
I don't know.
I can't type. So Ben 10 Race Against Time. Christian Anhol. Christian Anhol. It's the same. It's the same praise that I had for him, where like they all play it so straight. They play it like Shakespeare,
right?
And it elevates the comedy because it like.
Oh, another person who can do that perfectly is Patrick Stewart.
Yeah. Oh they play it straight. And like that makes it more funny.
Right. But like when Daniel Radcliffe, like, and I know like I mean this metaphorically, but when he looks at the camera, right? Like you can see that ratio of like I'm just joking and I'm Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah,
right?
Like committing to the bit.
Exactly. And it's perfectly done.
My favorite bit in movies like this. Like Walk Hard did the same thing, where like they make fun of the scene where it's like, wow, we really are in some kind of Bohemian Rhapsody again, or aren't we? And then like Freddy's like, wait, say that again. Say that again. That sounds like a good name for a song. Like Walk Hard does it. And it's like, I'm not gonna give up on my dreams. Life is a long, rocky road, and I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna walk hard. I'm guilty. I'm guilty as charged. And this, it's like they're playing My Sharona, and the guy's like, "Hey, why don't you get a little bit of my bologna?"
I think that story was actually real, though.
Yeah, but like you can tell that it's like played up.
Oh, for sure. Or like when he made up the song "I'm Fat."
Yeah. At the end, they were like towards the end of the movie, they were like teasing that. But you could tell, like when they were writing it, Weird Al was like, looking back, that song may have been a little insensitive, but they just like, they allude to it so much
in the 80s. Like, okay, yeah, I get it. It's fine. But I love how in the movie when he's trying to, when they're introducing like song names, his mom, they're sitting at the dinner table with his mom and dad, and his mom is just gained a bunch of weight, and she goes, I'm fat. You know it.
Yeah, they like they really lean into it, and then it's like,
right.
And then the dad's like, yeah, I lived in an Amish paradise.
Right. And then he's like, uh-huh. And the mom's like, did you get that?
No, so like the dad explains the whole Amish thing, and then Weird Al is like, wait, Mom, what was that you said a minute ago about being fat?
Yeah.
I love that. That's just my favorite.
That was the original. That was the original.
Yeah, that was
Michael Jackson is just the parody.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's my favorite bit, and I will never get tired of it. Like if they make
someone goes into
if there's like a third parody of musical biopics, I hope that they still do the bit where it's like, wow, we really are in some kind of boogie nights.
Hang on, I need to look up something.
I'm just staying alive.
So Fall Out Boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I were doing a movie for them, there'd be a scene where I'd be like, wow, I'm like a lawyer with the way I'm always trying to get off.
Did you have to Google song lyrics for this bit?
No, that's the song title.
Oh, you had to Google the song title for this bit.
I Googled long song titles because when it's one word, it's like, oh wow, that's how they did it. But when it's like a full-on paragraph title,
wow, Kurt, you need to shower. You smell like Teen Spirit.
Yeah.
That's my favorite bit. But anyway, yeah, I would say best movie ever. It's free, so it's definitely worth the price of admission. It's on the Roku channel. Mm-hmm. I think I mentioned we talked about this last week, but like someone on Twitter was like, "Hey, Weird Al, Roku channel isn't available in my country," and Weird Al responded like, yeah, I guess, there's VPN, very probably no way to watch it, but I'm sure you have a torrent of other questions. That's awesome. Yeah, I love him. He fully endorses just fucking stealing the movie.
Like, because he's definitely like the dude who's like, I have enough money, guys. Like, I'm okay. Like, you don't, like, I'm not, this isn't something, like Daniel Radcliffe, I think, would get that too. Like, that's why I think it's so great that they had like two people who are like, at least in a matter of principle, kind of on the same page.
Yeah, these right? two people that have like exorbitant amounts of fuck you money.
Right.
Like both of these people are set for life.
Oh, for sure. And like, I'm sure there must have been like a lawyer like, Daniel, how much, I'm going to argue for this much for this movie. And Daniel was probably like, a little lower. I'm good.
Yeah. I mean, even if he didn't negotiate it down, like he doesn't seem like the kind of guy to really care about like getting as high of a salary as possible. Cause like
he's already Harry Potter.
Yeah. I think he's talked about this in interviews, but like he was in 8 Harry Potter movies, like in the starring role. Yeah. So like
he was the guy.
Yeah. He can really accept or turn down any role he wants.
Right. Right. And I love that he's like done other things. So it's not like, it's not like that he's like washed up or anything. It's just that he's doing things that he wants to do.
Yeah. Well, like he was in that show, Miracle Workers, I think.
And Swiss Army Man.
Yeah, he was in that show Miracle Workers, which is where that clip comes from that I sent you, where he's singing She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain. Like, that very much feels like something that he wanted to be a part of.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to watch that show, actually. It's on HBO Max, apparently. For now.
For now.
But yeah, anyway, best movie ever. Did you end up watching the credits and hearing the song that plays?
I didn't. I forgot. I've been busy. I'm so sorry.
Okay, I'm so
sorry.
I'm gonna play enough that you can hear the line that I wanted to reference, but not enough that we'll get a fucking copyright claim. Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm gonna try to find the lyric. It's kind of a long song. It's over 5 minutes because it plays during the credits. There it is.
We only changed one thing. I really did play Live Aid with Queen. And I blew him off the freaking stage.
So yeah, that's great. I love, like, he still does that bit. We didn't mention it, but I think pretty early on, he goes to this like pool party with a bunch of celebrity cameos, a bunch of celebrities playing other celebrities. Like Elton John is there, Pee Wee Herman is there, and John Deacon shows up. He's like, "Why don't you write a parody of one of our songs?" And then everyone's like, "Who is that?" He's like, "It's me, John Deacon, from the bass player from Queen." And everyone's like, "Oh, okay." But yeah, then he's like, he writes another one, Rides the Bus. Weird Al does. And then John is like, "I'm so blown away. We're actually playing a little gig next week. It's called Live Aid. We'd be honored if you join us." And then there's like a beat, and Weird Al's like, oh, like on his face, he's like, "Oh my God, what an honor." Then he's like, "Hard pass." And I love that.
I love how they had Jack Black in this. I also think Jack Black is a great like add-on because I think he has enough. Like, he has a YouTube channel now that has like millions of subscribers.
Dude, he streams on Twitch.
Yeah.
Dude, Jack Black is cool as shit.
He's fucking awesome.
Can we get
him.
Jack
He's
Black
great
on the show?
Dude, let's do it.
After Howard Dean, and then who was the other one? Who was the other person we wanted to have on?
Oh my God. I forget.
After
Gretchen
Howard
Whitmer?
Dean and whoever the other person was, then we're gonna have Jack Black on the show.
For sure. I've been told, and I don't mean to toot my own horn, I've been told that I look a lot like Jack Black.
I could see it a little bit. A little bit, yeah. Like if you had like different hair, different beard. Oh, he's tussling up his hair. A little bit. I don't know. Let's get you in that Nacho Libre outfit, then we'll talk.
Yeah, right.
Dude, we
I
should
need to
talk
gain,
about
like,
Nacho
50
Libre.
pounds.
I haven't seen that in such a long time.
Dude, Jack Black was my childhood. I'm like,
yeah.
Come on, man.
Dude, Nacho Libre and School of Rock. 2 awesome movies. And I couldn't believe they were both the same guy. Mostly just because he had different hair and a different accent.
Right.
Like I didn't understand like the concept of getting a perm when I was like 5.
Me either. I learned about what perms were from Parks and Rec.
I learned about it from The Amazing World of Gumball.
Dude, that's such a good show too.
Yeah.
That's the thing. That's why I think Cartoon Network kind of flopped, because they got rid of all the people making good ideas.
Yeah, because like, they got like absorbed, and then the company that absorbed them got absorbed, and they were like, we gotta focus on short-term earnings for our shareholders, and art is expensive, and it only yields returns in the long term. Fucking whatever. But anyway, Weird, the Al Yankovic Story, best movie ever, definitely worth the price of watching it.
Nothing.
Which is free. Yes. It is free with just a little bit of ads. Just a sensible amount of ads, I would say. Unfortunately, since it's like a Roku original, they're not really like doing a physical release. But like if they were, I would love to buy a Blu-ray of Weird the Al Yankovic Story. Just like to have it in my collection, just to know that I'm not like at the will of whatever Roku decides to do.
I love it when a bunch of celebrities with fuck you money get together and are like, yeah, let's just do this.
Yeah, no, it's great.
That's great.
I saw a clip of Conan on Howard Stern on Pornhub, and they were really going at it. No, I saw a clip of Conan on the Howard Stern show, and Howard Stern asked him about his cameo in Weird, and he was like, yeah, I kind of forgot I was in that.
That's really funny.
That's great.
I have a funny comment actually about Pornhub with relevance to Pornhub. One day, just because I was curious, I wanted to see if Pornhub people happened to upload music on it.
Yeah.
Turned out they did. There was the entire like Beatles Abbey Road album there.
Yeah, dude, people upload Let's Plays on Pornhub.
Yeah. Like, it's not even sexual. They're fully clothed.
Yeah.
They're just there. It's funny. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah, dude, Pornhub has, like, not only every kind of porn, just every kind of video.
Yeah, it's kind of like, it's like opposite Rule 34.
You know what?
I mean?
I should start uploading on Pornhub.
Let's just put the podcast on Pornhub. Fuck it.
You know what?
What are they going to do?
We might gain more traction there. Who knows?
Like, if an employer is like, why are you on Pornhub? I'd be like, just look at the content there, and I'm sure
it's for marketing purposes.
Yeah.
So anyway, subscribe on Pornhub. Weird, the Al Yankovic Story, best movie ever.
For sure.
Definitely better than The Godfather.
Uh-huh. Not as good as the Emoji Movie.
Look. The Emoji Movie and Weird, the Al Yankovic Story are both incredible works of cinema. I think they're, like, I'll start by saying I think they're great for different reasons. But in terms of just pure joy that it brings me, I gotta put Weird, the Al Yankovic Story at number 1. This was a delight to watch. Like it's very rare that I watch a movie and I'm like, this made me happy. Like, I'll watch a movie and be like, this is good. Like, this is a fun movie. This is good. But Weird just made me happy. Like, I just had a fun time watching it, and I felt better off having seen it.
It's definitely one of those movies that is engaging in the sense that you want to know what's real and what isn't. And that's what keeps you, like, you're with a playfully critical eye, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, not like, oh, I bet this was fake, but more like, hey, I wonder what was real about this.
Yeah, it's just fun. Especially that you have a bunch of A-list actors like Daniel Radcliffe, Jack Black. Those are the only two that come to mind at the moment.
Weird Al himself.
Which I mean, is he an A-list actor? Let's be honest.
Look, many people have said this, and I agree with it. Weird Al is, like, just in terms of, like, success over years, he is more successful than anyone he has ever parodied. Like
Michael Jackson.
I mean, compare Michael Jackson now to Weird Al Yankovic now.
Yeah, because Michael Jackson's fucking dead, you dick.
Like, so is Weird Al. Weird Al was assassinated in 1985. But like,
that is a factual thing that happened.
Like, no one has been relevant for the number of years and to the extent that Weird Al Yankovic has.
Right.
I think that's awesome. I think that's cool. So anyway, what do you want to watch next week?
And I know you told me to think of something. I am aware. I know you did. Let's watch Chernobyl.
We've talked about this. Chernobyl I know. Is a very incredibly dark and politically relevant piece of televised programming.
I've just been having fun watching stuff that you have good movie taste. So.
Well, I appreciate that. We could do our standard cop-out and say, let's just continue either the MCU or Twilight.
Hang on a sec. Hang on. Give me a second. Give me a second.
How unprofessional.
You are radically unsuccessful. You are a giant loser. Like a giant who is a loser and also a giant loser.
Did we do Vampire Sucks yet? Vampire Suck?
We did. We did do Vampire Suck.
What What if I choose that one Jesus movie that fucking what's his face was in? Who played the Green Goblin?
Oh, Willem Dafoe. What was that? Like, it wasn't the Passion of the Christ. It was
No, it was a different thing.
Hold on, let me Google this. Willem Dafoe, Jesus, The Last Temptation of Christ.
Yeah.
Actually, when you said Jesus movie, it made me
let's do Life of Brian. Monty Python.
Yeah, I don't know if that's on anything. Hold on. Because when you said Jesus movie, it made me think of something, a movie that I saw that I wanted. I don't think I talked about it on the show, but it's this like no budget movie from a long time ago. It's like Jesus beating up a bunch of people. I don't remember what.
The Life of Brian is just on YouTube.
Oh, well,
in
is
its
it like
entirety.
Is it free or do you have to rent it?
It's free.
Okay. Well, hold on. How do I find my saved list of stuff in the? Hold on. I'll just open the app because I'm pretty sure this is on Tubi. Hold on. Oh, here it is. Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter from 2001.
What?
It's free on Tubi. It's an hour and 24 minutes. This is the synopsis. The Savior himself returns to wage a righteous war against a clan of vampires. He teams up with a legendary Mexican wrestler to help him on his quest.
Jack Black. Please tell me it's Jack Black.
It's 100% not Jack Black. This is a no budget movie that no one has heard of. That is just being given away. You know what? Also, there's one of the suggested movies. This is from 2019, weirdly enough, but it's The Velocipaster. In this cult film sensation, a newly orphaned priest travels to China in search of spirituality and instead gains the power to turn into a dinosaur. I am saving that. I'm saving that to my list.
You know what we should watch? We should watch Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer.
Yeah. Hold on.
Really, that's a thing.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I also remember Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
I love the world.
Yeah. Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, 2012. It's on Prime Video.
Wow.
I'm really feeling Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter. Like I'm really feeling that one. It feels like the most deranged. Like it feels like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter that was released theatrically. Okay. That has like B-list celebrities in it. Like it has Anthony Mackie, Dominic Cooper, Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Like it has like people that are in stuff in it. I just feel like it cannot go to the depths, to the extents that Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter can.
We can do Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter next episode.
Like, if you really want, we can do whatever you...
I trust in your intuition, so let's do that one.
Like, looking at this, like, trailer that's playing, like, it feels very homemade. It feels...
Shot on iPhone.
It feels very shot on iPhone. Hold on. I'll play it with sound, the trailer. How do I... There we go. Let me start this over. Oh, this is just the whole movie. Never mind. I thought it was like a trailer playing.
Is that on YouTube?
It's on Tubi.
Which is free?
It's free. Yeah, it's like, it's ad supported. It has like a surprising amount of stuff. Like it has all of George Carlin's specials.
That's just internet TV.
Yeah. It has a lot of kids shows. Yeah, it has a lot of like more stuff than you'd think for being like just a free service. I don't think it has paid plans.
How about that?
So anyway, I'm writing that down. Next week's movie. Jesus Christ. Vampire. Fuck, I can't type. Vampire Hunter. All right. That's free on Tubi. Watch it before we spoil it. Anyway. Now, I did share the show notes with you. If you want to add anything to recommendations of the week, go ahead. I have a few to get through. I think I mentioned Alex Ross last week. He does all of the covers for the ongoing Iron Man series that actually just ended this week, the comic series. But one thing that I like forgot to mention is how good all of the covers are. Like every single cover of all of these issues could be on its own, like a poster. Like any one of them would look great on a wall. Like his art is just, it's beautiful. Like it's less illustrations, more paintings. And he has a YouTube channel where he like talks about his process, and you can just see him like draw something like I think in real time, some of them. So if you're just interested in like comic books or like art, like either of those on their own or
Did you
together,
send me the show notes on November 11th?
Probably.
Okay.
But yeah, his
I'm
YouTube
there.
channel is pretty cool. If you're interested in, learning about his process, or I just like watching him draw things. I really, really enjoy his art style. It has this kind of like photorealistic quality to it, but in a way that still maintains like the comic book feel of it. Like he draws Iron Man in a really like shiny way, like with realistic textures, but still it has that same fantasy feel to it. It's great stuff. And then I talked to Gavin about this on the phone, but Elon Musk, and I wish that we had talked about this last week when we were doing our segment on him, but it seems like he's trying to turn Twitter into a bank. And for more detail on that, this is where I heard it from. But Bandrew Scott, who runs the Podcasted YouTube channel, he has a podcast, Bandrew Says, and in this week's episode, he talked about the whole Elon Musk turning Twitter into a bank thing. And so, I'll link that in the description. He goes into detail on it, and I think it's just a good show that he does. So, subscribe and listen to it after you listen to this show. And then I watched Wakanda Forever. Black Panther Wakanda Forever came out this past week, and I watched it, and it's pretty good. It doesn't feel like an MCU movie. Like it just feels like a good, like it's just a good movie, Where Thor: Love and Thunder felt very much like a part of the MCU. Like it is a brick in the wall when it comes to the MCU. But Wakanda Forever feels like an artistic venture more than just like a part of a corporate, cinematic universe. As you probably know, Chadwick Boseman died in 2020, I think. They actually just finished the script before he died. So, they didn't have a lot of time to, rewrite everything. Because, they had to rewrite, a lot of it, to get around, him dying. They ended up having, T'Challa, his character, just, die of an unnamed illness. And, the movie, a lot of it is about, grieving his death. And I think it's just very well done. And it's a good movie. So I guess if you were thinking about watching it, but you weren't sure, fucking watch it. It's good. And I've been talking about the comics that I've been getting into, and She-Hulk is a good comic series. If you liked the show, you'll probably enjoy the comic. I think, She-Hulk had flaws just by virtue of being an MCU thing. The MCU, the formula has flaws, and it follows the formula quite a bit. But I like it. It kind of has that a rom-com kind of vibe to it, and it's good. There's sort of a little will they won't they with a bit of tension with a character who is thought to be dead, but he's not, and it's mysterious so far. But his whole thing is his superpower is absorbing radiation, and the last time that him and She-Hulk were near each other, he was sapping away her life force, but some mysterious thing happened to him and he doesn't do that anymore. And they find out oh shit, we can touch each other now. And then they fuck. And I think it's awesome. I think it's really cool. And the build up to it, it's great. It's a good story. I like it. It's an ongoing series. I think issue 8 just came out. You can read the first 5, I think, so far on Marvel Unlimited, which that's a good service. Marvel Unlimited. You pay $10 a month, I think, and you can read like pretty much every Marvel comic other than what's released in the last few months. It's good.
I would like to add one thing. This is just a news thing. I'll say it really quickly.
Yeah.
So World War III has been averted. I just want to point that out. Cooler
cool.
heads at NATO have kind of won over. They have kind of unanimously agreed that the missile that, like, even Poland, it's not just NATO, just like Poland and NATO have I wouldn't say unanimously, but have agreed that the 2 missiles that hit were just strays, and they will be keeping a very stern eye on Russia, but won't be taking any military action. So I just thought that was interesting, important to say. Also, I wanted to throw out a YouTube channel that I've been listening to when it comes to things regarding combat. It's called Combat Veteran Reacts. He is just a combat veteran who just kind of knows how frontline warfare kind of works, and knows kind of like the more niche nitty gritty things. Of course, I wouldn't, with relevance to things like foreign policy and like strategy, I wouldn't really go to him. I would just, read the room in terms of what information you're trying to get.
Well, like Dr. Mike on YouTube and Legal have like series where they react to stuff. Like, it's the similar thing with them. You don't go to Dr. Mike for medical advice. You don't go to Legal for legal advice. But yeah, but as sort of a piggyback on those, those channels also do cool like professional reacts to with their profession being in a show.
Exactly, and I really like how well he puts things into perspective, especially with this Ukraine-Russia war, about how ill-equipped, how like radically ill-equipped the Russian forces are. He had one video where he went over the kind of the information manual that is given to frontline troops in Russia to just kind of inform them on how to fight. And he went over it, and he's just like, this is like America's no shit book. Like, this is, that's what you do. That's just the baseline in warfare. Let alone urban warfare, which is a kind of a different story. And what is being experienced in Ukraine, unfortunately. But, I love the way he kind of pragmatically goes through everything.
He has a video from, looks like just yesterday. Russian missiles hit Poland, escalation or miscalculation.
And then a new video that was up 6 hours ago, which is like why I bring up.
Oh, I see. Yeah, World War III averted.
3 averted.
Yeah. So looks like this guy is on it.
It looks like he's on it, and also I can't verify personally that he actually served and stuff. I'm just kind of going off of the trust system. I trust that he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, you kind of just got to assume that he's not lying, or else, like, you'll drive yourself crazy doubting every single thing that you read.
Right. Just everything that he said and the demeanor he gives off kind of implies that he knows what the fuck he's talking about.
Yeah.
Shout him out. He's cool.
Yeah. Also, when I checked YouTube and I opened my notifications, Howie Mandel is on the H3 podcast. That's cool.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah. Looks like they're live right now. I really hope that Ethan asks about that time that Howie Mandel posted his friend's prolapsed anus on TikTok.
Dude,
I still don't know what the
related?
deal was with that. I still do not know why. Like, I know he was like, is this COVID related? But like, I'm just going to...
Dude, just do a reverse Google image search.
Oh, my Google Assistant activated on my phone when I said the G word. Howie Mandel. I don't like Googling this, but Howie Mandel prolapsed anus. Oh, cool. Someone uploaded the full video.
When my friend Neil bent over, this happened.
They blurred it, luckily.
Does somebody know, is this COVID related? And if it is, what do we do about it? Ow.
Oh, that's great. Hold on.
Hey guys,
I want to see if I can
It's
find
Rick.
the uncensored version.
No, I don't.
I'm just curious. Okay, this
Of course
channel
you would be,
just
Alex.
did
Of course.
commentary on it. All right, Reddit. Howie Mandel casually posting a picture of a pro-Zionist on TikTok. Oh, that is gnarly. I'm sending the link to Discord.
Fuck, God.
Sending that to stuff we send during the show.
Oh, here's another YouTube channel I would like to also
Does somebody know, is this COVID related? And if it is, what do we do about it? Ow.
I just everything about it together. Like the fact that he's posting his friend's prolapsed anus on the internet, uncensored, and like the way that he's saying it, like it sounds like he's reading a teleprompter poorly. And the way he's like, is this COVID related? Like, anyway, you were saying?
Yeah, one other YouTube channel I would like to kind of call out here. Call out in a good way.
I'm calling you out.
Calling you out, Scott Manley. His name is Scott Manley.
Yeah, that's badass.
It's badass name in it. He's Scottish too, so that makes it even cooler. He does YouTube videos about space and science and technology, and specifically, and how I learned how to play this game, Kerbal Space Program. Scott Manley has been a great help to many Kerbal Space Program player.
And this is a YouTube guy?
Yeah. He's been a great help to many people trying to get their first ship into orbit, given the difficulty regarding doing anything in Kerbal Space Program. So yeah, Scott Manley, good guy, like him.
Awesome. And my last recommendation, this is actually a pretty cool thing. So I think I mentioned a few months ago when this happened, Meta, Facebook raised the price of the Quest 2 from $300 to $400 for the 256, or not the 128 gigabyte model. Then the 256 version was raised from like, I think 400 to 500. But actually, there's a deal going right now where they discounted it to $350, and you get Beat Saber and Resident Evil 4 VR, like with the purchase. So like even comparing it to the regular price of the Quest 2, like comparing it to that, it's an extra $50 for a $30 game and I believe a $40 game. So like you're saving quite a bit with this bundle, even with the price increase of the Quest 2. And it's starting on the 18th, which is when this episode is going out. And it says this offer is set to take place at participating locations while supplies last. The deal will be available direct from Meta and from Amazon, US, Canada, EMEA, Best Buy, US and Canada, GameStop, US, Target, US, and Walmart, US and Canada. It says, if you're in Europe, go fuck yourself. No, it actually says, if you're in Europe, look for a similar deal at your typical retailers in Australia, Belgium, Denmark, Finland, France, Iceland, Ireland, Italy, the Netherlands, Norway, Poland, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, and the UK. So that's cool. I don't know how long it's going.
I'd like to mention that I almost like the fact that both Facebook and Twitter are going down at the same time.
Yeah, fuck them. Yeah.
Fuck them.
Yeah, Meta, Zuck dropped like $1.5 billion on VR on his metaverse, and like it's not going the way he wants. I just wish, like, they have like such a golden opportunity if they just marketed correctly. Like, they're focusing on all the wrong stuff. Mm-hmm. And like they're trying to market VR as like an office application. And like I
don't want to get VR headsets at Staples.
Right. Well, no. What I mean is they're trying to market it as like a thing to use in the office. Mm-hmm. And like that's not really what it's for. I understand there are a lot of industrial applications for VR, and the Quest Pro has stuff that's good for that, like AR and whatnot, and like increased like higher quality tracking. Like there are good ways to use VR for industry, like, you know, looking at like a 3D model of a thing before fabricating it. Like I get that. But when it comes to like everyday office work, The Quest 2 is really not what you want for that. VR, like, at all is not really what you want for that, at least in its current form. But it's perfect for gaming. Like, it's a great thing to play games on. And if they just stuck with that marketing, like, Oculus was doing well. And if Oculus had, like, its branding and its marketing with the market size that Meta has now with the Quest 2, like, there'd be no problem. They'd be making more money than they know what to do with.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, they're dumping money into some shit that no one wants and we already have a version of.
Right.
Yeah, and fuck Twitter.
Twitter.
That's my analysis for Twitter.
Amen.
Yeah. Very imbalanced. Anyway. Look, this is my advice. Hold on. This is my advice for Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk.
So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway.
Should I add the corn pop thing to the sound pad, or like?
You should.
Okay, I will. I just don't know how much it'll come up. Because like Corn Pop was a bad dude who ran a lot of bad boys, but I just don't know how much that'll come up in conversation.
He could have said bad guys and it would have been better. Run a lot of bad boys.
I just don't get who Corn Pop was. He never said who Corn Pop was.
I know.
Was he a gang leader? I think he was a gang leader.
What is this West Side Story? Like,
I don't even understand West Side Story.
I don't either.
Anyway.
Sign a treaty.
Yeah. All right, I think that's the show then.
I think that's the show.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening to another episode of What Have You to Say. When we're done with this, I'm going to finish the rest of these McNuggets. If you liked it, then like it. If you subscribe, then subscribe. If you comment, make sure it's a nice one, okay?
Yeah.
Follow me on social media. Don't follow Gavin anywhere.
Don't follow me anywhere.
Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me on Instagram. Follow my Tumblr. Just don't follow me home for dinner, am I right?
Actually, follow me to dinner so that you can pay.
Yeah, pay for my dinner.
But then leave.
You can pay for my dinner by subscribing on Patreon for $1 a month, and you get early access to episodes as soon as they're ready to go up. Put them up there, and then they go up on the following Friday for all of the pours. So, if you're interested in keeping the lights on, getting a little early news coverage, pay up. Leave a review on Podchaser, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, wherever you can if you want, as long as it's positive, okay? If you liked what we said, tell us. If not, keep it to yourself. And with all that out of the way, let's get the hell out of here.
Let's fuck on out of here.
Let's stop recording and then we can say what we really think about the listeners.
Exactly.
Yeah. But not before we do the intro.
Not before we do the intro.